Our top story this half hour. Only 2 days remain before the Iowa caucuses, and Hillary Clinton is facing new questions about her private emails when she was Secretary of State. A new group of emails was released by the State Department, which says that 22 of them contain top secret information. But the State Department says those emails were not labeled as classified when they were sent.
The news could not come at a worse time for Hillary with just 2 days till the Iowa caucus. So what can we expect on Monday? Washington Post political reporter Philip Bump is here with the preview. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start right there.
Sure.
What can she expect? What happens after this?
Well, I think what's interesting about the Iowa caucus as opposed to other elections is that in the room, people will be debating with one another. And on the Democratic side, there's going to be a lot of trying to sway people to one candidate or the other. So unlike a normal election where something like this coming this late, people might not hear about it. A lot of people are going to hear about this in the room on Monday. And a lot of people are going to be saying this is a liability for Hillary Clinton over the long term. And I think that could affect her chances in a close race.
Can I just say that I am so glad after this long crawl, we're going to finally start voting on something?
You may.
You're right.
But let's look at this pivotal moment here, because you've got, Bernie Sanders has said he's basically got to win Iowa and New Hampshire if he has a chance, correct?
He said that, yes. I'm not sure that that's necessarily true, but he definitely, it's more important for him to win Iowa than it is for Hillary Clinton.
So the stakes for Hillary in these two states are what then?
Well, so Hillary wants to win Iowa. It seems pretty clear she's not going to win New Hampshire, in part because Bernie Sanders is from next door. Over the longer term, though, Hillary Clinton has an advantage, which is she does better with non-white voters. Iowa and New Hampshire are very white states for the Democratic Party. That is very advantageous for Bernie Sanders, who does better with white voters. So I think that Bernie really needs to win Iowa, in part because down the road he's going to have less of a shot winning states that have less dense white population.
Well, it's funny because we heard him earlier joking he's encouraging people to even kidnap voters, recognizing that there may not be that big of a voter turnout. Is the age a big factor for that?
Yeah, I think that his support, he has a lot of support from younger voters. Younger voters tend to turn out less, but he also has a lot more support from people who've never done this before. The caucus process can be very confusing, can be very difficult. You have to go there for a while. People are arguing with one another. There's a lot of reasons why it's disadvantageous to have people who are unfamiliar with the process be the core of your support. Hillary Clinton has an advantage in that regard.
So organizationally, she's stronger in Iowa.
I haven't been to Iowa, so I can't say that, but she certainly has done this before. She saw what happened in 2008. But Bernie Sanders, I think he's got a strong organization, which I've seen in New Hampshire.
What do you think will happen? Will there be backlash from Trump deciding to not be a part of the last debate?
I don't know that we'll ever know conclusively and answer that question. There's so many things going on, ads, and we've got people starting to vote, that it's hard to isolate out one thing. I think it certainly did have the positive effect for him of keeping the conversation about him this week. I think that the debate was not good for Ted Cruz, which is his main competition right now. So I think that it probably was helpful for him not to be there, but I don't know that we'll ever really know conclusively.
Are Iowa and New Hampshire going to start to clear the Republican field?
Well, you have to think so, right? I've learned better than to try and make predictions during this election cycle. But, it's going to be hard for someone like a Mike Huckabee or Rick Santorum, who both won Iowa in the past. It's hard for them to then move forward and say, oh, I'm still viable if they don't do well in Iowa, which it seems like they're not going to. I have to imagine the field will clear to some extent.
You've covered this for so long. Do you feel like the Iowa caucuses benefit either party more? Is it harder for either party?
I don't know that it's harder. I think the Democrats in general are better at doing sort of grassrootsy turnout sort of things than the Republicans are. I think that Iowa and New Hampshire are a bigger contrast to the Republicans in terms of ideology. There's a lot more at stake there for the Republicans that doesn't apply on the Democratic side. So I think we should see a lot more happening on the Republican side over the short term.
As Anthony said, finally some momentum.
Finally.
Philip, thank you so much.
Of course.